the other things you talk about in your book is the Oprah moment on Twitter,
Right.
which was misunderstood when it happened. When Oprah tweeted for the first time, everybody thought that she had animated this new network, and that her engagement with it signified that there was something there. And you argue, and others have argued, I think, that actually it's the other way around. It was that Oprah had suddenly realized how powerful this device was, that she realized that she needed to be a part of it, because otherwise she would be left behind. I'm curious to know whether the same thing applies to Trump. Did Twitter change in 2016 when he was elected? Did it become a more powerful entity, or did his voice transform it? Which came first?
Yeah, so the case with Trump is actually different from the case with Oprah in a very important way, which is that the case with Trump was that he was amplifying a message that his followers already believed in. And so he could be a leader in that space because as an influencer, and this is this sort of conceptual distinction that plays a huge role in the book and also in the science at this point of how we understand social change, is between a simple contagion, which is a piece of information or idea that kind of resonates with what we already think, versus a complex contagion, which is a new initiative, an innovation, a new idea that actually forces us to kind of consider maybe it has some risks associated with it. We need to think about it first. And those two kinds of contagions spread really differently. The COVID-19 vaccine is the virus is a simple contagion. It spreads through contact very, very effectively. Vaccination is not a simple contagion. Just because you or someone get vaccinated doesn't mean you're going to get vaccinated too. People have certain beliefs and they resist this idea of vaccination. And this is where social networks become such a fascinating science, because you've got all these paradoxes where the same exact networks that would allow a hate speech rally to be mobilized by President Trump, those networks actually won't be very effective for counter mobilization or for sort of changing people's beliefs about whether that's an acceptable thing to do. And so you need to sort of target and think about networks differently to understand the spread of a complex contagion. And so this is where Twitter, because it was a new technology, it required social coordination. You had to sort of believe that it was worth the time to sign up, was more of a complex contagion. It grew through the kind of grassroots processes, took off, and it got so popular that someone like Oprah was sort of first, appreciative of the fact that this was going to be a valuable thing for her to do. Whereas with Trump and with mobilizing the sort of initiatives that he wanted to mobilize, and with articulating and fomenting the kind of hate speech that he wanted to promote, he was speaking to the choir, as it were, right? He was talking to people who sort of already believed and were already willing to advocate for that kind of thing. And so he was just kind of animating and amplifying something they already believed. So that difference between simple in the case of Trump and complex in the case of Oprah help us to understand why the networks operated differently in these two different cases.
Hachette,